Welcome to the Living Centred podcast, a podcast all about learning together how to live lives which are centred on Jesus. Everyone lives centred on something. Our goal is to learn together how every area of our lives, everything about who we are and how we live, can be increasingly oriented around Jesus and transformed by Jesus. He invites us to a rich and satisfying life, where the good news that he truly is enough changes everything about how we relate to God, ourselves, and the world. In each episode, a different person shares about what it's looking like for them to seek to centre their life on Jesus right now. As we hear their stories, we get to learn together and to encourage one another in what it means for Jesus to be at the centre of our lives. This is a journey we are all invited to, and a conversation we all get to be a part of. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, my name is Adrian, and it is so good to welcome you to this week's episode of the Living Centred podcast. It is my privilege to introduce today Chika, who will be sharing this week. Chika, it is very, very good to see you.
Thank you, Jeff, for the opportunity. I'm happy to be here.
I wonder if you could just start by just telling us a bit about yourself and like who you are and what your life looks like at this point in time.
My name is Chika. Vincent is always a tough question to answer, but I'm from Nigeria originally, been in the UK since 2007. I'm married, yes, and I have a full-time job, and also I'm involved in ministry, which would do traveling abroad as well.
Wow.
So at the moment, my life is more full-time job, home to rest, spend time with the wife, and then, chat with friends, get on with ministry work as well, and then so things like that, yeah.
Sounds pretty full.
It is, but we try to make time to rest anyway, so not to get too carried away with everything.
Good. That is good to hear. Good to hear. It is good to have that balance. At this point, I always jump in with the big question, which is, what does living centered on Jesus look like for you right now?
The more as I was thinking about that, for me, I think I would say more like surfing. I don't surf, but for me, I think it's more like surfing. So I think for me, it's what I do is, when you started surfing from the beginning, it's more like about try and error. You fall, you get up, you continue, you go back again, you try until you master catching waves. So at the moment, for me, last month and this month, if it has felt that way, that you make promises, you want to do something different, but then you find out that you make choices that doesn't really quite line up with what you want to do. So you have to come back and then go again. So for me, so far in the last 2 months, it's been like that. But I'm not giving up.
That's very good. Well, that's so helpful to hear, because I think often people can think, oh yeah, everyone else has got this sorted. Whereas so often the life of just seeking to center on who Jesus is and allow his life to fill more of our lives is that thing of, I'm going again. Oh no, this hasn't quite worked. I've got to go again. I guess my question in that then is what is helping you to keep going? What is it that you're doing that just keeps helping you in this?
I would say knowing more that I'm loved. That's the most important for me. Knowing that I'm loved, no matter what happens, I'm loved and I'm accepted. So those two things kind of keeps me going. And also knowing there's a purpose for my calling as well. So I know there's a purpose that God have called me for. So that those are the things kind of prepares your mind, that gives that hope that, okay, there's a reason why you are here. There's a bigger purpose in life. There's something bigger than myself that God has called me to. So those are the two things. Knowing that I'm loved and accepted, I know there's something bigger that God has placed for my life. So those are the things that keeps bringing me back and keeps me going as well.
That's really good. I guess with that then, just to push you a bit, what does that look like for you to know that there's that sense of, I'm loved? How does that help you when it feels like when you use that illustration of, it feels like surfing and I'm going again, but I've fallen off a bit. What does that look like to say, but I'm loved?
I think it frees me from trying to perform. It feels like it makes it more authentic. That look, it is not. Because if you know when love is very accepted, it stops you from being like a performer, trying to always be the best, be the good, that try to make everything look all nice and rosy. But it's not that way. So for me, I think it frees you from performing. I like to be authentic. When it's good, it is good. When it's not good, it's not good. But in the mix of everything, I'm loved and accepted. So, and that's what's important for me. So yeah, it stops from performing.
That's really helpful. It's so good. It's so good. I love that. Of stops me from performing. Just knows that I am accepted. I like it. I really like it. It's just good. I guess along with what's helping you in that, in terms of being loved, that sense of purpose that God's called me to something bigger. What are you discovering at this point in time through this kind of surfing, falling off, putting back on, knowing you're loved, knowing that purpose? What is it you're discovering about who God is as Father, Son, and Spirit?
There are certain things that come to focus to me. Probably that's something that God wants me to focus on. It could be, it could come through the story from the Bible. It could come through a kind of a scripture that kind of comes to life in my heart.
Yeah.
So, and then when I read and go through them, so that kind of point you can find, these are areas that I need to focus on. These are the things I need to work on. These are the things I need to pay more close attention to. One of them, like an example, is early this year, it was more like, I think it was Romans chapter 8, verse 23, that's all I've seen, and follow shall of the glory of God. So meaning that it goes beyond the sin for salvation. It's more about we are created as God, created as a human. So that's the first creation. But sin kind of limited us from being the human that God made us to be. So in that way, I need to look at my life. Am I being an example of a human being? In which area that do I need to make changes? Which area do I need to focus? So when you make choice and make decisions, you have to be on that base that as a human is have to look after marginal people, has to be on that base as well. So those are the things of God. That's the thing that kind of get pointed out to me to focus on. So that kind of always keeps me going as well.
No, it's really helpful. It's so helpful, Chika. And I guess in it of just that, just a great example of just that reality of who we are. That we fall short of who God is, and yet we're being transformed more into who God is. That journey is just, it's amazing. And I love the reality of you just saying, there's just this focus, this attention that God's calling me to within my daily reading of the Bible, just verses bringing to mind that there's something he's trying to get my attention on. I guess within that then of what you're discovering about who God is through this is like, how are you then changing? Like if we were to rewind the clock, I don't know, 3-6 months, like how would we see a difference between who Chika was then to who Chika is now?
I think at the moment I'm more attentive. So more attentive to things that have been highlighted to me compared to previously I tend to, that I wasn't attentive before. It's more like you're attentive, but you don't take notes to an extent. It's more like now I pay more attention to what's being prompted, and when I share with people, I share from that as well. So what I'm learning, I'm also trying to pass it across to people as well. So I was in Romania recently, we did a meeting. I said, okay, what I'm sharing with you is not just for you, it's also for me. These are the things that are being pointed out to us. So what I'm learning, I'm trying to share with people as well. So
that's really
good. The difference between last year and this year is that I'm not seeing things that I need to tell people. I'm seeing things that I also need to experience myself to be able to communicate to people as well.
That's really good. And so with that, do you find that attentiveness, I guess, is both, from what you've just said, it seems like both what people are saying to you, but also just what you're noticing about what God's doing in you and through you. So if you're sharing something with people, it's like, actually, am I aware of what God's doing in this? Is it causing you just to be, my phraseology would be like just seeking to be more present?
It is. I think it's not for you to be more aware of yourself, be more aware of your own self as well. Like become to condemn yourself. No, it's not confined. This I'm telling you, where do I need to make corrections? Where do I need to change course in my life as well? So I'm not just informing you about it. It's also something I'm also trying to live through as well. So that way, I'm not just passing. I'm also taking a step back. Okay, where do I need to make the corrections in my life? Why do I need to adjust? Why do I need to change to change how I make decisions and choices as well? So that way, I'm also reflecting as well. I'm also knowing the areas that I need to improve, get better at, and things like that. So that way, I'm also not missing out from the whole process as well.
That's so good. It's so good, Chika. And I think what I'm struck by is that attentiveness to an expectation of, yep, there's going to be things that God's going to highlight and that I'm going to change and I'm seeking to change. But it's within that basis of what you've said of knowing that you're loved, that you're not here to perform, and that you're caught up in this bigger purpose of who God is. It's just all ties together. It's just really good. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
I guess just that really. Yeah, thank you so much, Chika, for sharing. And I know for me, I'm going to be considering just that reality of rhythm that you're living with, of just that I'm loved. I don't need to perform here, but within it, just continuously that invitation that God's got this bigger purpose that he's calling me into, not in order that I can perform, but just in order that I can be part of just what he's about in the world, which is just a really exciting way to live. How about you, my listening friends? What is it from what Chika has so richly shared with us that you're going to be contemplating over this coming week? Lastly, I want to thank you for listening, and I pray you would know more of the wonder of living centered on Jesus this coming week.
Thanks for joining us on this week's episode of the Living Centered podcast. New episodes are released every Monday, and if you enjoyed this episode, please do like and subscribe on your chosen podcast provider to receive them direct each week. Living Centered is produced by the team at Oasis Church in Birmingham, UK, and you can find out more and get in touch with the team via theoasischurch.com.